Hello, book lovers, and thanks for listening. I post new chapters every week. If you like my work, please remember to like and subscribe to help me build my channel. The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. Narrated by Jennifer Schafer. Chapter 8. Nicolette.
It's a shame Brant wasn't able to join us tonight.
My mother plunges her fork into a slice of her birthday cake with as much grace as a true Preston can, and she cups the underside of her utensil as she brings it in for another bite. He sends his love, I say, and you'll see him first thing in the morning.
This cake is to die for. He's really missing out.
Mom points at the white frosted confection with the tines of her fork. I wave her comment away with my hand. He's on this sugar-free, gluten-free thing right now. It would be torture for him. Every year, the weekend before Christmas, my parents drive from their second home in Nantucket to Stillwater Hills to spend a couple of days with us, doubling down from my mother's birthday and the holidays, before I leave to finish out the rest of winter with my best friend in Florida. It's been this way for the entirety of our marriage, so I find it odd that Brant committed himself to work obligations on this particular evening. And he and my father are practically best friends, my dad bragging to his yacht club cronies and anyone else who will listen that Brant is the son-in-law he always hoped to have. Brant isn't quite so vocally braggadocian, but I know the feeling is mutual. His father left their family when he and his younger brother Davis were barely out of diapers. His mom spent the majority of their childhood drunk or high, sometimes drunk and high. My parents are the only family he has that truly love and cherish him the way he always wanted to be loved and cherished. They're the only family he really has anymore. His mother passed away shortly after we married, cirrhosis of the liver, and his brother lives in a decrepit trailer on the far side of Stillwater Hills, working nights at the tire factory and spending most of his free time at the strip club in the next town over.
"Where'd you say Brant was tonight?"
Dad asks. Speaking engagement, I say.
"What kind of speaking engagement?"
He asks. It isn't like my father to pry about details, so his question catches me off guard. The truth is, I don't know. I don't have an answer for him. Brant claims he's speaking at some members-only country club charity function tonight in Albany, and when I asked if he wanted me to tag along for moral support, as I've always done, he insisted I stay here and wait for my parents to arrive. I couldn't even tell him what he's speaking about, and not once did I see him practice. You'll have to ask him when you see him tomorrow. Ignoring the heavy tightness in the pit of my stomach, I top off my wine glass. So how's the Carlton Hotel's buyout going?
"Couldn't be better. First of the year."
He says with a proud puff in his chest.
"We'll finalize everything then."
Mom palms her chest and leans forward, eyes growing wide.
I can't wait. 6 months of negotiations was a little much.
Dad laughs, like Mom is being dramatic.
"My God, Helen, it wasn't that bad."
She turns to him, giving him a teasing yet incredulous simper.
It's all you talked about for 180 dinners.
"Well, rest assured that topic of conversation will burden you no more."
My father chuckles.
"And don't forget, I'm whisking you away to Aspen next month for your troubles."
Duly noted.
Mom winks at him before placing her cake plate on the coffee table, and Dad reaches for her cappuccino mug and hands it over to her. Almost 40 years together, and they still have that special something, that glimmer in their eyes, an unspoken language, a bond no one else has ever been close to breaking. I wonder if they know how lucky they are to have something so rare, but I don't have the energy to ask them. They'll see through it immediately, and I don't want to get their all-knowing stares and answer their prying questions. My parents have a kingdom of luxury hotels to worry about. They don't need to worry about their only child on top of it all.
"Oh, Nick, I wanted to show you how the Gideon suite turned out in the Soho reno."
Dad pulls his phone from his pocket.
"Helen, I left my glasses in the guest room on the nightstand. Would you mind?"
Mom smiles and slinks off without a word, and Dad leans in, placing his phone face down on the coffee table. I knew this was a setup.
You doing okay, Nick?
He asks, his voice low and his forehead creased. I jerk back, head angled. What? Yes, why? His mouth presses into a firm, straight line, and he breathes out of flared nostrils.
I got a call from our accountant the other day. He said there have been a few sizable withdrawals from your trust in the last couple of months.
This is news to me. I want to ask him how large these withdrawals are, but I don't want to give him any inkling that something isn't right. The combination of cake and wine in my belly suddenly feels like a bad decision. The trust is in my name, but Brant has all my passwords, as well as access to my online account. He could have transferred shovelfuls of money to God knows where, and I wouldn't have noticed because I would have no reason to believe my husband would ever do such a thing. Not in this lifetime. Not in a million years. I know he didn't have the best of role models growing up, but it never stopped him from being kind and generous, honest and forthright. He always left my money alone, or so I thought. They say the apple never falls far from the tree. It's a horrible, tired cliché, but I can't help but wonder if it applies in this case. He might be Brant Gideon, but he's still a Gideon. Mom returns with Dad's glasses in her hands, and he pulls his phone from the coffee table, picking up where he left off, which tells me Mom knows nothing about this, and Dad is trying to protect my dignity because he believes something is amiss in my marriage. If he only knew. Gathering empty cake plates and silverware, I carry them to the kitchen without a word, thankful that my mother's return meant not having to finish this conversation with my father. I rinse dishes in the sink a moment later, my hands trembling and eyes clouding with the burn of hot tears. As soon as my parents turn in for the night, I'll log into my account and check into these withdrawals. As far as I'm aware, Brant hasn't made any new purchases. He hasn't rolled into the driveway in a flashy new car or gifted me with new diamonds. Hell, even the suit he wore to the Bell House Museum the other week was 2 years old. Nothing about any of this makes any sense. The only plausible explanation is that the money, my money, is buying his mistress's silence. I scream, but only in my head, where no one else can hear it. End of chapter 8.